The next poet is Barbara Newsome. I'm very honored that she's joining us. She's presented her acclaimed performance pieces in venues as varied as the Riverside Library adjoining Lincoln Center, where I heard her, and the legendary Apollo Theater on 125th Street. Barbara is a storyteller, writer, and poet who has performed at places like the Apollo, New York University, Barnes & Noble, the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, and countless other venues. Ms. Newsome's poems, and this is my opinion, are moving and heartrending. She captures her audience with her compelling acting ability. She's influenced people of all ages, transcending our differences and making us feel our connectedness to each other in profound ways. I'm very honored that Barbara Newsome is joining us for this reading. Thank you so much. Let's hear it.
Thank you. And I want to especially thank Diane and Bernard for inviting me here this evening, and for all of you who've come out to share in this experience. I want to start out by reading two of Maya Angelou's poems. As you know, she passed away recently, May 24th, 2014. I'm going to start with I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. The free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. But a bird that stalks down his narrow cage can seldom see through his bars of rage. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with fearful thrill of the things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. The free bird thinks of another breeze and the trade wind soft through the sighing trees, and the fat worms waiting on a dawn bright lawn, and he names the sky his own. But a caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shines on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful thrill of things unknown but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom. I know why the caged bird sings. Maya Angelou, Still I Rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room? Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want me to seem broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my naughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard? 'Cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard? Ha! You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but, still, I rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. From a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tides, leaping behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. From a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts of my ancestors that they gave me, I rise. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
Bravo!
Thank you. I am going to read a poem. Sometimes I write poems that come out and different characters speak. And this character is going to tell a story. I hope, if I got it right here. Okay. So, here we go. They told stories about how Sally Jenkins pulled out her switchboard knife down at the shack on a Friday night and nearly cut Sonny Boy Williams' throat wide open. Told how he stumbled out the shack, slid down the side of the wall with blood running down his chest. One of them swore before God in heaven that every scene she saw and every word she heard was exactly what happened on that dreadful night. On hot summer days, they sat on their porches, swinging in swings and rocking chairs with blue jays landed on fences and lizards crawling up trees and butterflies casting their beauty like ribbons rippling through sky. They gutted and cleaned buckets of fish for Mr. Kingsley, talked about how he hated Negroes, how they could never tell if he would honestly share the harvest with them or the money that he earned. Told how red he turned when one of them got too sick to work the fields. When his fish were gutted and cleaned, which they cleaned for him, they see his old pickup truck creeping up the road. They poised themselves, looked glad, shot glances at their children who froze like icicles. He'd get out of his old pickup truck, turned the day's work chewing tobacco around his mouth, spit out some of the juice and say, "Thank you." On Saturday nights, they pulled out their bottles, turned on their stereos, and Sam Cooke began to soothe their hearts by letting them have a party. When the clouds turned black and began to roll over one over the other, and the wind grew strong and the air became warm, they rushed in their houses, turned off their radios, and sat still as God moved across the land, lifting trees from their roots, knocking down live wires, sometimes killing them. But they knew that their God was a just God, their God a living God, a God who was always there for them, and they prayed to him and worshiped him and sang his praises. Thank you. The next poem I'm going to read is titled Emily Blue Eyes, and I like to read this poem occasionally, especially when audiences are mixed, because the reason I wrote this poem was to show how, in spite of racism and our differences, that there is a love that can flow through our lives in spite of our differences. So, Emily Blue Eyes. Emily Blue Eyes, come here. Let Nana gather your hair on your head, for the wind is wild and has blown it in so many directions. It lies frazzled at the tip of your neck, where even finer hairs have blown with each whisper of wind. I do say, Emily, that looks so much better with the pastel blue ribbon so elegantly matching your eyes. Yes, get your dolls. You can play Wish Mommy and Daddy were here. And Emily, don't forget, after today, I will not be back again. But Emily, I'm going to make your favorite cake. Remember, I will always love you. Nana will always love you. Emily, I will always love you. Emily played and made one doll ripped and torn and feeling sorry what she had done to the doll and hitting it again and pounding it and tears rolling from her eyes until suddenly she heard her cry, Emily, Emily, come darling. Emily cried. Emily's mother cried. Her father cried. But none of them knew what to do with the distance between them. And as is with the will of time, Emily grew up. But at first, with the ball of her tiny hand, she moved away winter fog and stared through glares and sparks of sunlight, hoping her Nana would come, though she never did. Time, distance, age, and memories cushioned in pillows and minds, still wishing, till the day a knock came upon old Nana's door. Who is it? Who that out there? Oh, Lord have mercy. Emily? No. Look, Emily, how did you find? What have you brought? All these things? Oh, Lord, if I had known you were coming, baby, I would have cleaned up, made up. Old Nana gets around. I do pretty good when the weather's good. My little arthritis here and there. But baby, look, you are just as beautiful as when you were a child. Come sit down. Don't worry about me, baby. I'm fine. How did you find me? Oh, Emily, you know, I have thought about you over the years. I never stopped thinking about you. You thought about, you did? Darling, tell me, what are you doing with yourself now? You are a civil rights lawyer? Oh, Emily. So I'm going to close with Big Mama. I love this lady. I just love her. So I'm going to give her to you tonight. The love is sweet in Big Mama's heart. You can tell by the way she stands when she speaks and speaks when she stands. Big Mama could move a mountain to stop your falling tears, close your eyes on her couch and drift you off to green lands of peace, listening to the swish of her broom and the healing words in the tone of her voice. And don't mess with Big Mama's kids. Why? Ain't no suited man been able to keep her down. Why? She's been known to grab their daddy's hand, and he knew that Vietnam was mild to what she could do. Big Mama would get in that kitchen feeling good or feeling bad, put them pots on the stove, stir in some herbs from her garden, love from her heart, creating health to the body and unforgettable taste to the lips. Hi, babe. Come on in. Lord, I'm so glad to see y'all. How are you, baby? You fine? Lord, come on. Get on out of my pot. You came right in and went right in the kitchen. And you ain't even wash your hands. Yes, I made sweet potato pie. All y'all got something to take home. Lord Jean, come on over here for a minute and talk with me, because you know they went up on their insurance. I was paying $2.50 and they added 50 cents. I don't even make that much a month. I can't pay it. No, y'all come on in and eat and just enjoy yourself. That's what I want you to do. Big Mama gave 6 days a week, but Sundays was what God gave her, and she gave back to him. And if you were sitting around not getting ready, Big Mama would tell you what's going to happen to your soul if you don't get it right with God. She would jar your insides and shake the devil right out of you before she strutted out that door with all the arm of God wrapped around her. It was late one evening and Big Mama was up. She was moving around the house. One of these mornings, yes, Lord. One of these mornings, my Lord's gonna take me home. The morning rose. I said, the morning rose, but Big Mama didn't come to the door. Big Mama? Big Mama! Big Mama, please! Big Mama! Oh, no. The air was remarkably crisp and clear. Silence was so still, I felt as if Big Mama had dusted off the world. I walked to my mama's hat closet and I took one of her hats and I put it on my head and I looked in the mirror and I smiled at Big Mama looking at me. Oh, no.